there is an issue with housing, affordable housing, and the solution we're seeing over and over and over again is high density apartments without a lot of parking options. And we've driven in Glendale and see some of these not so beautiful buildings, and you could look right into their bedrooms. And I say, wasn't there any planning for this? And so just on my socials, if anybody follows, in Japan and other places, things are drawn out, built out across just to see how it will fit. Things like that where they're an eyesore, and it's not just the beauty, but it's also the statistics show that buildings like that bring crime. So we want to make sure and have options. So condominiums are important. There's been discussion that, it's very challenging to do that, but not impossible. There have been condos built. We're just clean out of them. There's like 6 available now. We need ways and pathways for our residents to have equity and own something in Glendale, not just rent. That's going to be, so those are just some of the hopes I
love that you said donating your salary to small businesses.
Yeah.
That is so generous and so kind. Even the coat of paint, that's just so small, but it makes such a difference.
If you had a business, you would know when you're trying to get inventory and you're trying to get, marketing, fixing the outside is a stress because it's always like, well, that could be done last, right? It's not the urgent inventory and foot traffic. But if we know by data that fixing the outside, which it does, increases foot traffic, increases visibility, keeps crime away and loiterers, and it will increase your revenue, how can I not do it?
Right.
Louisa Live.
Welcome back, everyone, to Louisa Live. I'm your host, Louisa Sharamatian, and my guest today is Dr. Carolyn Kaloostian, a board-certified physician and public health leader here in Southern California. She spent her career focused on preventative care, aging populations, and improving community health systems. She completed all of her medical training right here in Southern California and has worked across a range of healthcare systems serving diverse communities. Alongside her clinical work, she's also a clinical associate professor where she teaches and mentors the next generation of medical professionals. Her leadership extends into public health as well. She's worked with the LA County Department of Public Health's Healthy Brain Coalition, helping advance dementia care planning and early detection efforts. She also serves as a board member of the American Heart Association, was named the 2024 Woman of Impact, and chaired the 2025 Heart and Stroke Walk here in LA County. Beyond her professional work, she's deeply rooted in community service and is a proud Glendale mother who cares deeply about supporting families, seniors, and local small businesses. And now she's bringing that same passion for service into the civic space as she runs for Glendale City Council. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn.
Thank you for having me.
This is great. We just saw each other over the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, during the AWA Gala, which was beautiful.
Beautiful. Love them.
And I'm just so happy that you're here to catch up, to learn more about you and all the great things that you're doing. Oh, gosh, where to even begin? I want to talk about a lot. I want to talk about the community and the campaign and so much going on, but who is Dr. Carolyn?
Yeah.
And just so many things we just found out, by the way, that we have in common. But yeah.
I guess I could just speak a little about myself personally. So I'm born and raised in Hollywood, and I moved to Glendale because I love it. I grew up during the riots, and I'm like, I want to grow up in Glendale where it's family safe, and it's where I could raise what I wanted, which is an strong Armenian family. And so 15 years been living in Glendale. I invited and urged my in-laws to live with me, and thankfully they finally agreed. And they helped me so much as I help them, and it's really just, we're growing up with Armenian food and speaking Armenian at home. These are just things that I think are very important, at least for me.
How is living with your in-laws? You love that.
I do love it. I've heard it's kind of odd. Most of my girlfriends are like, oh, maybe I wouldn't want to live with my in-laws, you know, but I begged her to join join us at the house. And when she finally did, I said, the kitchen is yours.
Yeah.
And she just makes the most delicious Armenian foods. My daughter's a fan and wants to learn how to make them. And for me, passing on those traditions is not only important for my heart and my soul, but also for our culture.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of, I don't know.
It's beautiful that you're so grateful for that, because your in-laws could help you run an empire, right? With the support at home.
Absolutely.
And your children always being around people and learning about our culture and Glendale and all of that. And I know how connected you are to family. You just told me that your mother had passed away like 15 years ago, right? That you're still grieving.
Yeah, so she had a heart attack. She was a physician in the community, a mountain moving woman.
Wow.
And then she died of a heart attack in her home. And I actually found her after a work trip. I came back and it was just so hard. It's 15 years ago, but those who've lost their mothers suddenly knows it's like yesterday. And I think it's driven me. It's driven me to like be on the board of the American Heart Association, educate women that, yeah, we're scared about cancer and dementia and things like that. But statistically speaking, heart disease is going to be the thing that kills us.
Oh, that's so scary. It's the silent killer.
It is.
She had no symptoms, nothing?
She actually did, which is probably what fueled me going into the type of medicine I practice now. When she was feeling nauseous and had some vague pains in her jaw, you know, atypical symptoms, I said, you need to get checked out. And she's like, I'm not going back to that clinic. And she basically alluded to that it wasn't a very like, you know, holistic type clinic. Like you'd have to wait many hours. Nobody knew who she was and they would rush you out because they had people waiting after you. And so I have a clinic now at USC and I'm so thankful. You know, God is in charge of everything. And he somehow put me in this clinic. USC has a concierge clinic and they basically have patients that I'm assigned to see. And we have an espresso machine. They have valet parking. I get to make house visits and it's just like nobody's after them.
Oh,
so I
that's
spend 2-3 hours with patients if needed. And I just know how lucky I am to have this and get to spend lots of time with my patients. And so maybe my other mothers won't fall prey to this disease.
So how does having a concierge lifestyle every day as far as a physician differ from having a regular?
I see it, at first it's more like a sprint because you have like 20 patients and you have 15 minutes each and you got to get the notes and the orders and everything and you can't make a mistake, right? So it's sort of like you stretch before work, you know? Yeah. The concierge is more of a marathon.
I love that,
You have to prepare. You have to do good self-care because you're on call 24/7. You know, I could be more busy at 5. And actually have a very light morning. Very different. You just don't know. So it's unpredictable.
And I love that you make house calls.
I do.
Because when we think about that, sometimes we might say, oh, we see that in old school movies and all that. But the fact that if someone's not feeling well and they can call you, oh my God, that's priceless.
Absolutely. And it's actually the kind of medicine I want to practice. I trained in the underserved. I trained to be in the clinic all the time. But after I got boarded in also geriatric medicine, and we see how helpful seeing their home environment, seeing what's safe or unsafe, seeing what all their stresses are, what they could fall on at home, the old medicines, the expired medicines in their cabinet, or supplements that are affecting how these medicines are getting absorbed. It's like life or death by just going to their house and seeing for your eyes. And so I'm just so grateful USC has provided me, you know, they pay me a salary, so I don't get paid anything extra. And they decide who my patients are. But I just love that these patients become like family.
You know, you touched on something very important, expired medication that's in the cabinet. And sometimes we don't know. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, expired medicine. And then I would also say these supplements that, you know, we're having a lot of social media and websites that are saying this helped my memory, this helped. Well, a lot of those can interfere with very seriously with your medications that your doctors are prescribing. So it won't be as effective, or it will double the dose, and then you'll see some bloody noses, and you'll see, oh, we don't understand what's going on. So anything you order online, and if you're taking it regularly, please let your doctor know, or at least your pharmacist, to make sure it doesn't interact with your medicines.
You're so right. Sometimes we take B12 and do I even need it? Or do I need the extra vitamin D?
Yeah.
So
and actually too much vitamin D
Right?
can cause issues and actually make your blood very thin. And then too much B vitamins, I'm saying too much, can cause issues as well. So too much of anything could be bad.
Yeah, and you come from a family of physicians, your mother and your brothers, right?
My brothers are brain surgeons, so I always say I was the huge disappointment in this family. But I just think I'm strong in other ways, you know. But I have incredible brothers and my parents, and I get to see just the different personalities that's in this profession. And I sort of like to situate myself between the doctor and the patient.
Right.
So I'm an educator. I educate the other specialists that are seeing my patient. I educate the patient, and I also talk with families. So I'm always about just awareness and education and making the best decisions we can together.
And you're very passionate about dementia and elder care. How did that happen? What inspired you to really dig deep into that? Because I am too. We talked about that. I love the elders.
Yeah. So other than heart disease, you know, memory loss is also a very serious problem and a growing problem for our seniors. And when you ask your patients, what are you scared of, especially if they're over 65, they don't tell you I'm scared of a heart attack and death. They tell you I'm scared of losing my mind. Because I don't want others or my kids or my grandkids to have to, you know, or I haven't saved and I don't know who's going to help my wife if something happens to me. So it's really, really important that we as family doctors talk them through that and screen them for memory changes. And we have so much we can do now than we didn't have maybe 15 years ago. We have biomarkers in your blood we can check about Alzheimer's. We have preventative strategies. And so I'm working with the Healthy Brain Coalition. We help write the strategic plan for dementia care for the entire county. And I like to make these really tough things seem doable and actionable because it is easy.
Yeah.
The ideas are complex, but we can make them easy and doable. And then you see the impact you made. And I think that's how I got these Woman of Impact and Chair of the Heart Walk, because it is complex if you get into the weeds. But then it's our job as educators to make it bite-sized and actionable. And I think I enjoy doing that.
Bite-sized and simplified. So, you know, people like us could kind of consume it.
All of us, the
right?
regular
way.
All of us.
But I feel like you're so passionate about that generation. And we did speak about over the weekend how having a center to help the elders and parents who are aging navigate, you know, social media and paying bills and talk about that, because I'm so passionate about that. Because they don't know, and it's so sad.
Yeah, I think I remember us talking over, you know, the different options that we have in Glendale, you know, to offer students. And then I said, wait, what about our seniors? I see a great opportunity for the kids to learn tech and learn science, and also sort of intergenerational, have the seniors learning as well from them. And so you could have a place where seniors and teenagers come together and learn from each other. And I think this is so important when we want to talk about getting everybody involved and people knowing what's going on with their neighborhoods. We want to make sure that there are seniors that can see the social media or that can, you know, hear what's going on and not be left out. I'm very passionate about that.
And we'll talk more about that and the campaign towards the end. But I do want to touch on you being an educator, because you train young physicians, right? And
Love it.
what are you teaching them that you wish you knew when you were starting out?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone private practice. And some doctors talk to me, they go, you're stupid. You're doing concierge for USC. You should just go private and make money. That just has never driven me. I think after I lost my mom, I realized more than ever, money is not to happiness. Because after you die, it's the impact you made in people's lives and in the community that remains. And we're still talking about it today, 15 years after she died. Wow. So for me, it's about making impact. So I stay with USC to remain a professor in the medical school. My courses involve senior care and how we have to evaluate for everything from head to toe. So memory, vision, hearing, balance, healthy muscle building, right? All these different things, medication review. So there isn't what we call polypharmacy, like too many meds that start to interact with each other. And so basically I teach students about that, but also working as a team. And those are some of the awards that I've gotten. I got the Productivity Awards, which is for teamwork, working with American Heart Association and the American Red Cross. We were able to train over 250,000 LA residents in bystander CPR so they can save lives throughout the county. And you working as a team is something that I don't think was taught in medical school or in pharmacy school or in OT school. So now here at USC, we're really teaching how in training you work with these interprofessionals. And so we can get the patient better, faster, working
That's
together.
incredible. And you went to USC medical school, right?
I actually
Or
did
no?
UCLA for medical
okay,
school.
we can mention
and then
that.
I did residency at USC and then back to UCLA for fellowship in geriatrics and a little bit of Cedars-Sinai for palliative care.
Well-rounded
fellowship.
everywhere. I love
Like
it.
I said, only Southern California
that.
and just about every hospital system I've rotated. And I just feel like that's very unique. Like you don't hear that a lot from
I love that.
providers. Yeah.
How was med school? I'm so curious.
So getting into med school, I knew would be tough. So we did a lot of, I did just about everything, double majored in 3 years. I wrote a thesis, you name it, we had to do it so that you were competitive, right? And so once I got in and it was pass fail, it's a little bit where you could take a breath because you had to, during medical school, of course, learn, but also feel what was right for you. So for whatever reason, I was in the era of becoming a surgeon. Part of it was my mom wanted to be a surgeon, and she told me how it was in her day as a pregnant woman applying to be a surgeon. And she was told, quote, "Lady, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to reject you because you need a surgeon." I know. And I know. And I'm just like, I'm going to be a surgeon. Like you just sort of like, I'm going to fight that, right? So I got into a surgical residency, but I realized I really prefer my patients awake.
Right.
And then I could learn from them.
That's
like
funny.
When they're asleep, it's really you're interacting with other surgeons and anesthesiologists. Like I really enjoy the conversations with my patients. I feel like I learn more from them than they do from me. So I left. That's the one thing I actually gave up was the surgical residency and did family medicine. And I have never turned back since. It's been wonderful.
How do you deliver bad news to your patients?
Interesting. One of my exams back in residency was about delivering bad news. And this is obviously I passed. But they said, you do it very well, almost too well. And I said, what do you mean? Well, there was a cancer patient and you were telling them they should, they have an option of not doing the treatment and maybe doing something on their bucket list and going to Greece.
Oh my God.
And I said, to this day, I actually teach how to give bad news now. And I appreciated that feedback that I gave it too well, but I guarantee it's something that we want to hear from someone you trust when it is going to be a very difficult time. We should know that this is going to be the best and the strongest during the treatment. So why not do all those things and not say, hey, I regret not going when I was feeling better. You need a trusted person to tell you that knows what's coming and says, listen, is there anything you want to do before you have hair loss, before we have this issue or that issue? So I think to this day, I appreciated that feedback, but I do think you need someone in your corner that gives you all the options and isn't shy about, no, you don't have to do this treatment. You could instead do this cruise. And I think it would change maybe would shorten the life a little bit, but the quality would be 10 times better. So I love those sort of conversations.
I'm blown away by that answer because you're dealing with the cards that are given to you. So you're saying, hey, this is the reality, but you could do this and this and this. I'm giving you everything versus, forget treatment, go to Europe for 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in your family, you're Mrs. Google, or do they ever?
It's funny when you have a brain surgeon at your door saying, I got a cough and you got to do something about it because I got a big surgery tomorrow because I can't have shaking hands. I'm like, let's have a seat in my home, so it's really nice just to see your brothers sort of sometimes need you. Like, I leave my door unlocked, honestly, because
Wow.
I want to help. I want to be, how I can help them. I help their patients, I help their families, and it's just my brothers, obviously, but I feel very similarly with my neighbors, with my patients, with my friends.
Right. Yeah, you're very passionate about family and children and your husband and all of that. Let's talk about that
Okay.
dynamic, like family life. You're a mother, but you're a full-time career woman, and you have such a supportive husband, which I met again over the weekend.
He came. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't come to all the events,
He takes
but I
great
said they were
pictures.
specifically asked. They specifically asked, hun, that you come, that we bring the husbands, to this event. And he was like, sure, hun. So he's great. I'm talkative, clearly. He's stoic. He's quiet, only said what has to be said. And we're great yin to yang, he's the yin to my yang. Interesting. We met in Hollywood. He was my neighbor, but I met him the day before he moved to Glendale. And there was like a coffee, white chocolate mocha. And I thought it was mine because that's what I ordered. And then he's like, that's mine. I'm like, what man that looks like him orders a white chocolate mocha, And then it turns out it was his drink after all. And we still drink that same drink together now. And yeah, he says, you don't know it, but you're going to marry me. And it was the most hilarious thing I thought he had ever said. And it turns out we got married. So
and the rest is history.
It is. And it's like a blink of an eye, we've had a great time. He's supportive. His mom is a gem. She used to be a doctor in Armenia, so she understands. And I think explains to him, like, she's stressed or she has this to do. You could support her in this way. And we've just, I don't know. It's just magic.
And
now.
It's a great example that it's so important to choose the right partner to excel in your life.
I could comment on that because I think I see, and I might have had that issue before too. It's like you want to marry someone that just excites you and that you said you feel like just completely enthralled by, and that is true. You want to obviously like each other. But I think what's so important, and I think it's because of some of the wisdom I've gained over the years, you want someone that is a partner at the hardest times, that still stands by you, and I think the good times are fine to work, but I think if it works when times are bad, and I used to tell him, even if we have to live in a cardboard box, it'd be you who I'd want to live with, and it's just, that's who I think we should envision together for the long haul, because the good times we're blessed, but the bad times will come. And if you don't want it to fall apart, of course, things can always change.
Right.
People's personalities change, people's health changes. But I do feel, I made that promise that this is who I chose. This is who's great with me during the hard times, and never looking back. It was the right decision.
Yeah. And for any woman that's watching right now that wants to pursue medicine and still have a family, have children and all of that, any tips for them?
Well, I would say, definitely think of your village. So my village is a husband who's understanding and, quiet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I have.
But that's great though.
It
The
is.
ice, the fire and ice, the yin and yang.
Perfect.
You need that. You can't be both fire. It doesn't work.
And then before I married him, I lived with his family to see, I'm marrying the family. And the family was, for 3 years, incredibly supportive, incredibly proud of me, incredibly inclusive. I mean, there were people visiting their houses all the time. Like, their door was always open. And I said, this is something I love. And then, just her being a doctor. So just having a family that's really understanding of your schedule. And I feel like if not for that, them as my rock, I wouldn't be able to sort of do this, run for city council, chair the Heart and Stroke Walk, raise over $1 million. Like, it takes solid foundation to really do those things. And I know I'd want to do it, but I wouldn't be able to do it and do it successfully without that solid foundation. So I urge, as you're building that for yourself, if that's the future you want, then think of building that foundation. And it may not be the most popular kid in the class. It may not be the wealthiest, old money man that we're like. It may be someone that, when it's tough, is the perfect yin to your yang, perfect partner, so that you can build what you hope to together.
They might not be perfect, but they're perfect for you, as they say. And
Absolutely.
as far as it takes a village, it does, because you are involved in so many great things right now, like running for Glendale City Council and the love of Glendale. And I'm a Glendale girl, and I love Glendale so much, Glendale girls. So let's talk about that journey.
Yeah.
How's that been?
Well, I think the question I get asked most is like, how is a doctor? It was funny. One even person said, why would you give up such a noble profession for this sort of negative field? And I'm a very positive person. So I don't think anything is negative. It's always like you just have to be creative in different spaces. And so I'm not giving up medicine. Medicine and healing is sort of what I want to do if God allows me to for the rest of my life. I'm just blessed that I get a concierge type clinic. So it's flexible and I'm home most days and helping patients virtually. And so I worked on the American Heart Association board. I've stepped down so that I could free up some time because over the past couple of years, you probably noticed things have been changing in Glendale and not for the better. A few things. And also the bills are going up. There's bus lanes coming in. There's bike lanes that had to be erased because they were unsafe. And when I started thinking about the work I'm doing in the county and also as the chair of the quality committee at USC and how I'm fixing, the problems with very limited resources, then you see the problems growing in Glendale.
Right.
And in 4 years, if I just vote for someone that I couldn't find someone that I felt would do what needed to be done, you got to take it, initiative. And so is what I do. So I decided to run. I've had a blast. I'm still having a blast, meeting so many families, meeting so many neighbors, having, creative discussions about solutions. That's what I'm a fanatic about. And I will not push my ideas on others. I will provide options that are vetted, that are always safe, and that, can allow the public to make decisions that will fit sort of some of the criteria coming down from the state. Because if we don't listen to the state has authority to sort of do it on their own. So we can't have that. We have to be the decision makers here. But we have to not just say this way or the highway, like we're going to build this everywhere. No, we have to have public involvement. It has to fit our city. So it is our job as a council to have options. And as we talked about before,
Right.
with very difficult conversation about cancer and treatments, what I do is I don't just say, you got to do this. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
There's all of this. And whichever one we choose that fits us best, we will walk that path together and it will be fine. So that's why I'm running.
I love the way you're expressing yourself. You're making it very relatable for a lot of us to understand, even your vocabulary. I have to say, it's great. It's very simplified. And that's hard to do. So much to say. What type of changes do you want to see in Glendale?
Well, first, for safety, I want us to be the safest, not one of the safest. I want us to remain the safest city. And I think that's always making sure the police and fire have everything they need. I do wish for water security. Considering being a high fire zone, I think we need to capture our water. How that's done, there are researchers, Army of Engineers, like they can definitely help us figure out how to do that. I also think we need revenue, and water is the way to do that. Instead of buying 50% of our water, we can definitely sell it because towns around us don't have enough water. So I think leaning into what is given to us. I'm very spiritual. I do think God gives us things in excess that we shouldn't be ignoring and we should be capturing. So I do hope that we can consider water security for our city and to be a leader in that. Other things are I'm going to discount the rising electricity bills for small businesses, about 5% discount. I also am going to donate my salary even to small business. I know it's not a lot of money, but I'm going to encourage the other winning councilwomen and men to contribute so we can provide small businesses with like a facade improvement, maybe a coat of paint, and help their businesses be brighter and cleaner so it can keep loitering away, keep crime away, and show that the city's doing everything they can to support them because they're the heartbeat of our community, are the small businesses. I would say there is an issue with housing, affordable housing, and the solution we're seeing over and over and over again is high density apartments without a lot of parking options. And we've driven in Glendale and see some of these not so beautiful buildings, and you could look right into their bedrooms. And I say, wasn't there any planning for this? And so just on my socials, if anybody follows, in Japan and other places, things are drawn out, built out just to see how it will fit. Things like that where they're an eyesore, and it's not just the beauty, but it's also the statistics show that buildings like that bring crime. So we want to make sure and have options. So condominiums are important. There's been discussion that, it's very challenging to do that, but not impossible. There have been condos built. We're just clean out of them. There's like 6 available now. We need ways and pathways for our residents to have equity and own something in Glendale, not just rent. That's going to be, so those are just some of the hopes I
love
have.
that you said donating your salary to small businesses.
Yeah.
That is so generous and so kind. Even the coat of paint, that's just so small, but it makes such a difference.
If you had a business, you would know when you're trying to get inventory and you're trying to get, marketing, fixing the outside is a stress because it's always like, well, that could be done last, right? It's not the urgent inventory and foot traffic. But if we know by data that fixing the outside, which it does, increases foot traffic, increases visibility, keeps crime away and loiterers, and it will increase your revenue, how can I not do it?
Right. And what kind of, I want to say, blocks do small businesses have before progressing, or any issues that they have doing permitting and all of that? What do they face, in your opinion?
The main ones I've heard with asking and having some experience in our own family, it takes a long time to start up a new business, and it shouldn't. We need it. We want it. There's a space for it. And so we got to make that streamline the permits. We also have to make sure if they have needs like a parking spot or something for them, we can't outright refuse these things. We have to make it easier for them. That has to be the intention. If that intention, it feels like it's not there. So I think that has to be revamped, and we have to, and I think by giving them a 5% discount on utilities is showing them we are on your side, and streamlining those permits and parking is important as well.
And how would you reduce the electricity rates and all of that?
So the key to doing that is microgrids. So if you just have one place you're getting, electricity from, it's vulnerable. And we have to get it from somewhere else. We have to start getting ourselves. What do we have? We have 300 hot days a year, sunny days a year. So we should be investing, as we have just started to do with solar. And there's many other types of microgrids. And if we do collect the water, the millions of gallons, we will have hydroelectric as well. And so we'll be able to have more. And so we don't have to buy more. And so our rates will go down. And that is a way that we have to invest in.
You're so passionate about Glendale and our legacy in Glendale, right? What kind of legacy do you want Glendale to have, even for your children growing up in this beautiful town?
Well, I've been, having a tough time even before I ran, because I'm a 4th generation Californian. So my grandpa was born in California. And when I even hear my husband say, Dallas is growing on me, our cousins are there, and we're visiting more and more, and they're visiting us, and I just can't imagine leaving California. And I moved to Glendale. I wasn't born there. I moved there. I chose Glendale, the Jewel City. It has everything we need. It has our community, has our churches, has our neighbors, has the safety. But I'm worried. A lot of people have left Glendale. Even today, I ask, what made you leave Glendale? Oh, this, oh, that. And I'm like, we need to try to help those who want to stay. We need to have small business thrive. We need to have a little bit of a nightlife here that's joyous. And we need to have families that have opportunities to stay close-knit and great communication. And so there are some ideas I have to help the delivery drivers in our city, because more than ever, we have so many delivery drivers, and they're like, we can't stop somewhere or we get a ticket. And we want to make sure that the service is available in our city, so we can talk about permits for them that will help bring in money and revenue. So ultimately,
What's one thing that will keep people in Glendale?
Well, I think number one, no more new taxes. And that's my pledge. I think one more will break the camel's back, as they say. We have to stop that. Taxing everyone means there's a problem at City Hall and we're not getting revenue. If we can't get revenue, they're going to, oh, well, let's just tax everybody more money. We cannot do that. We have to stop doing that. And we have to do that by using what we're given in excess and not putting stress on everybody else. I think that will help a lot of us stay. And then keeping it very safe. I want to see police officers at night, you know, feeling safe to just walk in our neighborhoods, not the wild animals out there or fearing the coyotes and the bears. Like, we have to make our streets where we're at, where our kids are playing, remain safe.
What's the perfect Glendale evening for you?
Oh my goodness. Evening. Okay, for me, it's just getting off of work. No one's in the hospital. All my patients are healthy and happy and even supportive of me, asking me how I'm doing. My patients are incredible. Actually getting to go out to dinner with the kids is always nice. My son's a fanatic about sushi right now, so getting to go to sushi with him.
Which one? Which sushi
Well, we have
spot?
a couple
There's
that we like. There's Phoebe over at Kumadori and the seaweed.
Oh, I love seaweed. Armenian owned.
Exactly. Incredible. And then is it Kuman? What's the name?
There's so many.
The Korean spot right down the street from seaweed is also exceptional. But taking him out, that would be very important for a great night. And then, potentially if my in-laws are home, we can drop the kids off and go hang out at our friend's house down the block. Yeah. You know, and just hanging out with, you know, the friends and laughing until about 10, 11 and home to sleep. That would be a great evening in Glendale.
I love that because I always say Glendale is a feeling, right? Glendale is a feeling. Great. You just know in your heart, this is Glendale.
I know. You know when you enter it, like from Hollywood, I'm in Glendale. You totally know. You totally know, actually.
The other day I said this too, right when I exit Colorado.
Yeah. Right?
I could breathe. There's something about the 5 freeway, like when you exit, you're going down, there's a Glendale Galleria, there's the gas station, there's a 7-Eleven. It's home. Yeah. And I love people who want to protect it, you know, spread love and keep it safe. I'm all about safety. I go walking all the time just to know I can walk around my, you know, the block. There's a park there. Just, you know how it is. Takes one to know one.
I do. I walk, and my girlfriend lives down the street. She comes down. We go walk all the way to the Americana and all the way back. And we stop at Seaweed on the way, you know, and I just don't want that to change. Right. And I have a gut feeling that how things have been going, people are going to be leaving, different people are going to be coming in, and I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
And I think I could not have participated in this election, right? But I know I'm a fixer, and I know I can prevent things from changing, and I just need that opportunity.
And you're spiritual. I love that. You're a healer. You're spiritual. It has a lot to do with manifestation and things happening at the right time, and combined with your medicine background.
I'll tell you, there's nothing, I can't agree with you more. And I have to be. I hope there are many people that are, because there are things we can explain as humans. But even just the other day, I was out for a friend's birthday. She was feeling sick. And I'm like, gosh, you know, we need a plastic bag. And there was just none, because there's just been like an embargo, right? There's no more plastic bags. And literally on my foot was a brand new plastic bag. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you, God.
See, you're doing something right.
And then you and I, just the other day, I'm like, they set me next to Louisa of all the people. I was like so thankful, because I wanted to reach out to you. I saw you had this going. I was like so excited. I wonder if she'll put me on and interview me, you know? And you were just like so kind and so generous. And I'm just like, it's God, you know, in the end, you can't explain it from just human, you know.
Thank you so much. I'm all about supporting, especially women who uplift one another and help each other grow and shine. Yeah. And I'm so honored that you're here to chat it up. And you brought this book with you. So tell me more about that.
Well, I brought it only because, I don't know, for me, there's a journalist named Ashod Pogosyan, and he, in this campaign, a journey, heard my story because they were like, how are you a fourth generation Californian?
So cool.
How do you speak two dialects of Armenian, read, write? How are your kids fifth generation and speak better than you? Like, how is this? Like, we know the story of the chart and then the coming to America and whatnot, but we don't know those that came for the gold rush. We don't know that story before the chart. And so he just listened to my story and he ended up putting it together. So he wrote it. It's called Carolyn Kaloostian, A Heart on Call. And it brought me to tears because sometimes it's hard for me to step out of my body and look at like what I've done because I'm on a train, right? I am going straight up to, I'm a fixer, right? It's like I don't tend to look back because you need a lot of time to do a lot of reflection on yourself. But when you read the book and you see your mom was the first graduating class of Fedahyan, and now there are all these Armenian schools. And then you read about, the grandparents who were born here, and there were no Armenian schools then, and that my dad doesn't speak Armenian, like, for instance, right? Because there was no Armenian schools and they were orphaned, and like how I am how I am. I'm what we call hayre naser. Like we're loving to the culture. I want the Armenian food. I want the Armenian music. I want the arts. And then when you read it, he's such a beautiful journalist, how he laid this out. So if anybody wants to see why I am how I am, he figured it out. Yeah, and
where
he wrote
could people find that and order it? Is it online?
It was published on Amazon.
Oh, great.
And then they gave it an award, like a top 5 immigrant biographies.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Well, we will definitely link that. Did you go to a private Armenian school as well? Which one?
I went to Alex Pilibas. Yes.
Down the street.
Yeah. Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
So, and I thought about that. I'm like, wow, like I'm the only candidate that went to an Armenian school. Like, I don't know, like how I was raised, at my mom being the first graduating class of Fedahyan, the first Armenian school. I'm very proud of that. I know my mom's looking down, very proud of that. And I know the schools and the moms taking their kids to these schools are proud of that. I don't know that it's a big part of my campaign, but it's something I'm very proud of. And I don't think you have to go to Armenian school, but I think I had to, because being a fourth generation, nobody spoke Armenian in our household. And I learned to read, write, and now look at me running for City Council of Glendale, where the biggest community of Armenians are outside the country. And I'm just so thankful.
What does it mean to you to be Armenian?
Oh, it's my identity. And I think that's really important these days, of people knowing who they are. And I think I know I'm Armenian. I know where my parents are from. I know what drives them. We're a family of service. This is why, yes, I am going to donate. Sure, I can keep that money and pay my mortgage. I can keep that money and use it on my kids. But no, I'm come from a family of service. We help others. That's what we do. And we take care of ourselves, of course, but we help others. So in doing that, do I need money from the city? No. I don't. I want to help the businesses thrive. So I think being Armenian to me is for me personally, my identity, who I am. Second, I was raised believing you can't say you're Armenian if you don't appreciate the culture, help the community, speak the language, try your best, at least, always that intention in mind. And part of us, our shared humanity, is that we, what my dad's side wasn't part of the chart, but my mom's side was, and understanding that we all have that in common. And as divided as we are, more than ever now with this campaign, I'm seeing how people, one little word you say and they're like, okay, that's it, I don't follow you anymore. It's so divided. Yeah.
Block.
It's like, okay, it's interesting. And that's okay. I love people's opinions and I love differences. I'm one of those. Part of the reason I love older adult medicine is because as we get older, we become so different. And it's beautiful. I love differences. The key is getting to a place that the majority agree for right now, for that issue, for not just the squeaky wheels, but everybody, what's what are the best options? And this is what I love to do. It gives me energy. It doesn't drain me. It's something I have a passion for.
And as far as Armenia, have you gone back?
I have, of
you
course.
visit? Okay, good.
As I
Okay, good.
said, being Armenian,
yeah.
it's like I got the best grades in Armenian class.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been to Armenia. In fact, my husband's family is still there. So my
Okay.
daughter's great grandmother is 95 over there.
That's beautiful.
Olfik. Hi.
Olfik.
And we have to visit her again, you know? And so we've gone a couple of times. We're going to go again. And the food is great. The people are great. It's a sense, it feels a lot like Glendale. It really does. And
Home.
yeah.
You know, as far as children and kids and raising kids, any tips on social media and raising children in this era? Because I know you would have some great tips.
I always have something to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
But you have to understand there's two parts to me,
Yeah.
right? There's the mom, the person that understands the struggles at dinner and they want the iPad, you know. And then there's, you know, the physician that says, you know, you don't want to immerse them too soon in so much social media and YouTube and screen time. And so I think there's a healthy balance. I think we need to make it easier for our parents. You know, we need to make sure that they're not, oh, be careful, you only get 20 minutes of this or that. We need to help instruct them, but we can't be too hard on them. But I think it's very important, and I'm glad to see in this day and age there are some restrictions that are starting to come up, you know, even legal ones, you know, under a certain age, maybe they shouldn't do this or that. I'm really happy that this is happening faster than maybe in days past, because there is a lot at the fingertips of our kids, and I can be positive all I want, but the reality, the negative is out there, and the negative is on the hunt. They are on the hunt, and we are in our busy lives. So it's important that we understand the thought process of those bad forces, those bad people, and we do a force field for our kids. And whether that's parental controls, whether that's time, or whether they do have infinite amount of time, but next to you, those are important things for each parent to decide what's important. And
I love the way you think. I'm really enjoying this conversation, Dr. Carolyn. I love it. So well, like you're very well rounded, very animated in a great way. And like I said, I like the way you explain things and I could comprehend, which is amazing. You know, so every guest that joins me on my show, I always ask them the same two questions towards the end. But before that, what else do you want to share with our community?
Just that I'm very grateful, very thankful for all the friends, family, supporters. I hope ballots are out. I think it's important for everyone to know. Don't throw it away. Your voice does count, especially with 12 candidates. I think it's important they know I'm on the first page of the ballot. I'm the last one. They can give 1 vote or 3 votes, whichever they prefer. And then they should mail it in, sign the back. What I heard, unfortunately, is people are asking them to sign it and then taking the ballots and filling it out themselves. This is happening in the buildings, the senior livings, I heard. I don't agree with that. I think everyone should hold on to your ballots until you're ready to send it. And when you're ready, after you've met or reached out to and read about the different candidates, put your vote down and you deliver it. And I think that's important too.
Thank you for all that info. Okay, the last 2 questions.
What are they?
Okay, so if you had your very own billboard on Glendale Boulevard, what would it say?
I, first of all, am not that sort of person. It's so embarrassing to have my name all over the city right now. I'm rather humble, and just this is the name of the game here. And so I would have what I have, you know, basically I would have my picture, and I would say it's not about how I look, it's about the message. And I hope you're getting the message, which is let's choose the path that unifies us, strengthens us. Remember, there are always options, and let's choose the right one for right now together. That's what I would say.
I love that, because that's also part of delivering bad news. How you just said that last part, the best option for you. It's so good. Okay, last question. What have you purchased under $100 that changed your life?
Oh my gosh, these are such good questions. It's a very tough question, mostly because nothing of any value to me cost any dollar amount. That's just the truth. They want to steal everything from my house. Go ahead. Doors open. It's the humans and people's intentions that mean the world to me. They're $1 million, like equal to $1 million for most people. So it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I would say, I agree to that. I would say anything, like there's a necklace when my mom died, a cousin had made that had my mom's picture on it that said pray.
Oh, I love that.
And I mean, what it was like, it's like an army tag,
but still, it's not the amount. It's something that fills your soul or makes your life easier.
Thank you. It's not the thing. Never. It's the intention. And that my mom, though she died, we're still talking about her today, 15 years later. She's watching us from above. She's putting the green lights and the green, we say green, gananch janabar, in front of me to impact as many people as I can till my time is over. And I would love to inspire others to take that torch when I'm gone, whenever that is, and continue in this life of service and healing, because it brings me so much joy. And so I hope that answers your question.
What was your mom's name?
Aida.
Aida. That's beautiful. May she always rest in peace.
She will.
And she's with you. She's with us.
And she's dancing up there. Yes. For sure, she's dancing.
She's with us. Yeah. Oh my God. Dr. Carolyn, this was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. And good luck with everything.
Thank you. Fingers crossed. It's all in God's hands. So
trust.
I do.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Louisa.
What?
Louisa Live.